Good morning. This is Stephanie Phillips for Farm and Country. As you drive, walk, run, or bike around our area, you can't fail to notice the many beautifully landscaped entrances to towns, parks, buildings, and other facilities. This isn't a coincidence. It's true that we happen to have lots of talented gardeners in Sullivan County, but these floral displays are facilitated by grants from Sullivan Renaissance, a wonderful organization that recruits, funds, and motivates volunteers throughout the county. This morning, Diana Weiner will explain how this works.
We are an organization that has been in existence for 16 years, and as the horticulturist, I have the great pleasure of meeting many gardeners around the country, so it's my pleasure to be here and talk with you today.
And it's our pleasure to have you. Diana, can you explain in broad terms what the goals of the Sullivan Renaissance are?
Our goals are really tied to our mission, and that is to enhance the appearance of Sullivan County while building a sense of pride and community spirit. And what we've been doing for the last 16 years is building up our volunteer corps throughout all of the villages, hamlets, towns of Sullivan County. And I think as people drive around, they see the difference that's made.
It's certainly been a successful endeavor. How does the Renaissance accomplish these goals?
We accomplish the goals by, I think, being very slow and steady and asking other volunteers to come in and to look at the grants and help us assess them and have a review where we bring community members in so that we make sure that it's not just about us, it's about other volunteers at that level that are helping us with our grant submissions and acceptance.
What do you look for in a grant application? Is it a long and extensive application, or do people just write what they would like to do in an informal way?
There's a template for our grant applications, and we ask them, what is their vision? I think, what are they trying to do in the space that they have chosen? We also want to ask them if they have a collaborating group. That's really important to us. Who are they working with? Sometimes just a small group of 2 people is not sustainable, but if they're working with the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts or the junior firefighters or another collaborating group, it gets more community involved, so there's more ownership for the project. We like to obviously see in their budget that it really is for the basics, the plant materials, what's going to make the gardens. So let's say it's a sign project, there could be some money for signs, but we want to make sure that there's some trees and or shrubs and perennials, and then we give them money for annual flowers as well. So there's a nice array of plants that will make it look successful. And then being able to work with the groups that had given us the grants in the first place to say, we vetted this very carefully. We think it's a very good project. We give them some proactive advice as to how it could be even better. We even have a garden design review committee, and we have master gardeners from Sullivan County, and we have people from out of the county that have their own design businesses and all in horticulture come in and look at the plans, and we give suggestions. Of course, they're always their projects, and we never want to tell them what to do, but we make suggestions to what could make it more sustainable.
It's interesting you use the word sustainable because it has a different meaning in the organic farming movement, but you're talking about sustainable in the sense that it will continue and maybe even improve as it goes along.
Exactly, and in that vein, it's going to be more low maintenance. We're going to choose plants that aren't going to cover the sign that they may be erecting that says welcome to this town or that town or the firehouse or the library or whatever. We want to make sure we have the right plant in the right place and one that is not going to be invasive, one that is not going to, involve too much maintenance so that if that group of volunteers steps away, it becomes a mess.
Yeah, it went through my head when you said sustainable that a lot of the flowers that I see are clearly annuals and they're going to have to be replanted the next year.
Yes, and that is true, but you have to remember that most of the people that come to visit us and second homeowners are here during the summer. And if you don't plan your perennials correctly to bloom every week or every other week and have a long succession of bloom, there can be a point in the summer where there's a pause, and that pause is usually late August, early September, without those annuals in there. So annuals can give us a beautiful burst of color, and if we can choose some that are deer resistant, then you're going to get your money's worth.
How is the Sullivan Renaissance funded?
We are funded through the Gary Foundation.
And you do more than just fun gardens. You also have events. What kind of events do you sponsor?
Well, our events are monthly seminars, the first Wednesday evening of every month. In the spring, it's April, May, and June. The first Wednesday, we have Gardening 101, 102, 103. In July, our groups that do have grants are getting ready for the judges to come and judge their projects. So we usually have a project that helps them with container gardening, deadheading, something that's going to have to do with maintenance or sprucing it up, making sure it looks the best for a show when the judges come. We do programs on environmental issues in the fall, and we also have a youth program every year as well in the fall. We'll do a fall gardening class, so that will bring us through September, October, November, and then we have a community planning focus as well. And then each January, we welcome people to a new year of our grant program, and we invite people in to come hear about what we would like to fund, what monies we have available, what new programs we have.
Is there a charge for these seminars?
Nope, they're free.
And where are they held?
The seminars are given at our location in Ferndale, New York. It is the old Cablevision Industries corporate headquarters. It's off Sullivan Avenue. The last few years for the gardening trainings, 101, 102, 103, we've partnered with Cornell Cooperative Extension, and we have them at their place on Ferndale Loomis Road.
Which towns and organizations have received grants from Sullivan Renaissance?
Everyone in the county. Everyone in the county, as far as towns and villages. So over the last 16 years, we've touched everyone. Now, we talk about our main towns, villages, and hamlets. So everywhere.
Are there some particular examples where people are likely to pass so they may be familiar with them?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that if you drive into, let's start up top in Roscoe. If you drive into Roscoe and take a left off the exit at the Roscoe Diner and head down to Main Street, Roscoe, Sullivan Avenue, you will see the clock on the main street, and you'll see the hanging baskets. If you go down to the Creekside Park, you'll see a wildflower meadow that's been installed with an environmental grant we've given them. If you go to Livingston Manor and just walk down the main street, you'll see hanging baskets, containers, the park that has a native planting in it. We work with the community garden there. If you go into Monticello, the new E.B. Crawford Library, the landscaping in front of that, we've helped with the sustainability of the plantings on Broadway since they've been put in by pruning and putting daffodils in, and all the way down to Wurtsboro, down there Sullivan Avenue, and the beautiful gardens and plantings there. So I think when you look down Main Street, Sullivan County, you can see that Sullivan Renaissance has helped these groups to maintain what they're doing, but also just to bring their original vision to the streets and make it viable all these years.
Well, I enjoy the gardens on the exit 109 in Rock Hill, and there are quite a few plantings there.
Yes, I shouldn't just talk about the few that I just did because they are all beautiful. And Rock Hill, as a matter of fact, won our Golden Feather Award last year. That's our top award. The judges thought that they were the best. And what we did last year is we had plaques that went into the communities that have received Golden Feather Awards. We're going to continue putting plaques in the different communities to thank them for what they've done all these years. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just Golden Feathers, because we have places like Hurleyville and places like Jeffersonville that may not have ever won that award, but those volunteers are there every year making their community beautiful. And it's a lovely plaque. It says, "This beautiful garden is maintained and nurtured by dedicated community volunteers." And Sandra Gary has chosen that wonderful saying by Margaret Mead that says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has."
I'm a little confused about who Sullivan Renaissance helps. Is it just big organizations, or you also help little organizations or small community projects? Are they always organizations? Can they be just individual projects?
Sullivan Renaissance, and for the first time this year, we have some new things to announce. We are now giving grants out to municipalities for the first time. And what we're trying to do is encourage those municipalities to take care of their gateways, the entrances to their towns. We also want to have them take care of the plantings that many of the volunteers help with in the communities. So our municipal program is new, and we're very excited about it. After 15 years, it's wonderful to be able to announce that we have this partnership with them. And there's also just garden grants. These are single element grants, and these could be firehouses, churches. There's one-offs. It could be like Sleepy Hollow, which is an apartment complex in Monticello. So they're organizations or they're businesses that want to help with the beautification of their frontage. We also have grants for the communities, and those grants are a little bit more money, and it's usually for larger organizations. Maybe they've been in our program before and they have a new project, plus they're maintaining what they've already been granted money for in the past with us. We have healthy community grants, and those we want to fund because Sullivan County has been noted as being the second to worst healthy county in New York State. The Bronx being number one, we're number two. So we're looking to give out grants for people who want to do bicycle paths, walking paths, farmers markets, meditation gardens that people can go in and enjoy, where people can get out and they can move and they can buy healthy food. So this is a new initiative for us that we're very excited about. We have business improvement programs, and that's facade and landscaping, hanging baskets, containers. And for somebody just starting in a business that wants to brighten it up, we have mini grants just for a hanging basket and a container just to get them started. So we really try to help anyone in any way. And you just need to come and speak with us. Many of our grants do have a time frame. We do have a fall admission, which is announced in September, and the applications are due in October. And then we have our spring admission. It's all part of that same year. And those grants are given out starting in February. They're due in March. So we'll catch you either time.
Hey, great. Yeah, I've seen a rather small project, a very attractive one, at the entrance to the Rails to Trails in Mountaindale.
Oh, yes. Erna Hutchinson and her volunteers have worked very, very hard on that. It's a great trail to walk. We actually did one of these Celebrate Sullivan Spaces events there. This is something that we do for our maintenance groups, that my paid horticulture crew goes out and works with their group of volunteers to help with some big tasks that they have to do. And there, every year, they have a lot of maintenance to cut down all the ornamental grasses and all in early spring. We were talking with Erna, and she wanted to have Celebrate Sullivan Spaces there, and we wanted to get into the gardens and cut stuff back and not be afraid to prune and all that. And it was our first event that we ever had, and it was so successful. People came out that had never come to volunteer for her before, and now we're doing these throughout the county during the summer. And it's a great way for people to learn. We did a walkabout in Roscoe last summer, just to walk about the gardens and see what they've built on over all these years. And people came out to learn what plants were there. And it's almost a Tom Sawyer effect, because with this, we go out and we do about a half an hour, 45 minutes of learning. And then we help them in Hurleyville, Deadhead, in Wurtsboro at the Arts Alliance. We prune trees. So we get them to come learn, and then they help us to do a task.
So if you volunteer, it's almost like doing an internship with a master gardener.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
You mentioned that your Renaissance collection somehow offers discounts to groups that are getting grants. Who offers those discounts?
Oh gosh, we have all of our major player garden centers do. So the Agway Farm Home and Gardens, Callicoon, Monticello, Liberty, even small places like Jeannie's Petals in Callicoon. Our brand new merchant to the program is the Barefoot Gardener on Route 55 in Neversink. So they're scattered throughout. Tom Manza down in Orange County, he's within a traveling distance. He's in our program. So So it's spread out all over, and there's even a place in Port Jervis, so right over the line on that end of Orange County. So we try to stay within a distance that our groups are in, Narrowsburg, Lumberland, so they can get to a local garden center near them. So it's not just garden centers, though, for our groups. We have everything from massage therapy to stone, mulch, etc. There are a lot of different businesses that will help the volunteers, even with food. They give a percentage off if you want to feed your volunteers that have come out for a mulching madness and pizza night or something. So we have all different types of merchants offering discounts.
Are they listed on your website?
They most certainly are. Yeah. And the other thing that these merchants have for our groups are flower dollars. And we talked about annuals and how they are so important for taking that bloom through the summer season. When perennials may not be blooming, you plant annuals that really bloom all through the summer, from the last frost threat to the first frost threat. And so the flower dollars, I call it funny money. It looks like Monopoly dollars, and they come in $25 coupons. And you can buy your annuals with these dollars and present your flower dollars to the merchants that are in our flower dollar program, and they accept them as money. And then they turn them into us, and we reimburse the merchants. It guarantees that they'll have those annuals and they'll have that beautiful color. And no matter when somebody comes to see their project during the summer, there's always something blooming.
Thank you, Diana. This is Stephanie Phillips, and this week's Farm and Country has featured Diana Weiner, Horticulture Coordinator for Sullivan Renaissance.